Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Devi Daily Yoga, where it's not about how your yoga looks, it's all about how it feels. We are going to do a deep stretch yin yoga practice, working into the whole body, starting from the top and working our way down. So when we do the poses more for the upper body, we hold them a shorter amount of time typically, so you can expect 1 to 2 minutes for those. And then as we get into the lower body, we want those nice, juicy, long 3 to 5 minute holds, which we will be exploring today. So you won't need any props for today's practice, but you are welcome to have them if you do like to incorporate them into poses as you feel them out. So have your blocks nearby or your cushions, but none of them will be required. And we will go ahead and start our deep stretch yin yoga practice right now. Our first pose will be child's pose. So climb onto hands and knees. Hands under the shoulders, knees about hips width apart, sending the hips back toward the heels. Let your forehead rest on the ground. Feel this contact with the yin energy of the earth, setting your intention now as you breathe in through the hands into the back of your body, and exhale through the hands, settling the hips back toward the heels and the tailbone down toward the earth. Take another full breath into the back body, and exhale, feel the spine lengthening. Now with your next inhale, come up to hands and knees once again, and step the hands forward to come into melting heart pose. We'll send the heart down toward the ground between the upper arms, letting the head soften down. You may or may not want to let the head rest on the floor. See what feels better in your body. As we focus on stretching into the armpits, the ribs, and the side bodies. Lifting way up through the sitting bones, and inhale into the lungs. As you exhale, let the heart melt a little more down toward the earth. And from here, take the left arm and thread it underneath the right, coming into your thread the needle pose. Feel the upper body twisting. Feel the back of the left shoulder blade stretching, upper spine twisting, the neck, maybe sending the head a little farther through. And take a breath into your spine. As you exhale, perhaps you can explore walking the right hand that's above your head over toward the left a little bit more, maybe getting a little more opening of the right shoulder onto the back. Soft and steady breath. Moving it now into rolling panda. Take your right foot out to the side like a kickstand, tuck the toes under, and from here perhaps you can tuck your head a little farther through, turning the gaze up a little bit more. And here we can maybe get a little bit more stretch in the back of the neck and a little bit more in the upper back, upper spine. Breathing into what you feel here. An option at this point to take this right arm and wrap it behind your back. Maybe just resting the back of the hand at the low back, maybe grabbing onto the front of your left thigh. And here we can open the right shoulder a little farther back. And slowly release, come back around, take both knees back to the ground, and return to hands and knees. And finding your way into some cat and cows. As you inhale, lift your gaze, find a back bend. And as you exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin and tuck your tail. And inhale into the back bend once again. And exhale, round the spine. One more time, inhaling, dropping the ribs downward, and exhaling, rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone. Good, and come back to a neutral spine now. And step the hands forward to come into melting heart pose. We'll send the heart down toward the ground between the upper arms, bringing the head maybe to the floor, or maybe it feels better to let it continue to hover. Feeling the stretch in the armpits, and feel that softening in the back of the heart. From here, take the right arm and thread it under the left, sending it through as you bring the right side of your head to the floor, the outside of the right shoulder on the floor. And can you find some length in the space between your right shoulder and your right ear? And now as you open your left shoulder toward the back, open up the left armpit, you might feel like you want to walk your top fingertips up over toward the top right corner of the mat. Steady breath now as you feel your upper body twisting and feel this wonderful shoulder stretch. Now taking it into rolling panda pose by taking the left foot out to the side, tucking the toes under, and sending the head maybe a little farther through and turning the gaze up a little more toward the ceiling. And can you feel this stretch now into the upper back and the base of the neck and a little more toward the rhomboids between the shoulder blades? And breathe into this space of the upper middle back. Now, option to take this top arm and wrap it behind the back, finding the thigh or just letting the hand rest at the lower back. Open your left shoulder back, open the left side of your chest. And slowly bring it back around, returning to hands and knees. And from your hands and knees position, finding cat and cow once again. Inhale to your back bend and exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tail. Inhale once again. And exhale, rounding. And return to a neutral spine as you take your elbows down onto the ground so we can come into Sphinx pose. Palms down on the ground. Legs can be closer together for more intensity or wider apart for less intensity. Option to lift up higher into seal pose if your spine likes more intensity here. Otherwise, stay down here on the elbows in the Sphinx. While lifting up through the crown of the head, we can open the chest a little more. And the main target area here is the lower back, the lumbar spine, and also the sacrum. As your body settles into this pose, you can consider relaxing your legs a little more. And as you take your next breath in, bring it right down into the pelvis. As you breathe out, soften the sacrum and the lower back. And checking in with the energy of the legs, relaxing the toes, relaxing the feet. And this helps to relax the legs themselves, the calves and the thighs. Steady, even breathing. Release Sphinx pose and slowly lower down onto the belly. And press your hips up and back to Child's Pose. Sending the hips back to the heels, arms out in front of you. Rest here. Come up to hands and knees now and set up for sleeping swan. Slide the left knee forward and turn the shin so that your right heel comes toward your hip. Settle your right hip down toward the ground. And you can choose if you'd like to have this foot farther up or closer back to the heel. Make your way down onto your elbows or possibly down onto your forehead. Perhaps the forehead rests on the hands, or the hands stretch out in front and the head comes to the floor. Option to use props, perhaps a cushion or block under your left hip or a block under your forehead. The target area of sleeping swan is the left buttock, the left outer hip, all the layers of the glutes and the external rotators in this outer left hip. As you soften and breathe here, can you feel any tension in the left hip releasing? Allowing each moment that passes to help your body to surrender into the stillness of this pose a little bit more. And as we soften into this pose, every breath can help carry the body into a little bit more of a release, a little bit more softening here. Slowly now coming up from your sleeping swan, tuck the back toes and lift the back knee off the ground to make a transition into downward dog. And walk the hands back toward the feet to come into a standing forward bend. Dangling here just for a couple of breaths, releasing into the legs and feeling the difference between the right hip and the left hip. And walk the hands forward to return to dog. And now let both knees come to the floor. We'll take sleeping swan on the second side now. Right knee forward, turn the shin, and settle the hips down. Finding your position, whether it's resting here on the elbows or resting the head down. Making any adjustments you need till you find a satisfying stretch in the right glutes, in the right outer hip, maybe feeling it down the outside of the thigh, maybe feeling it a little on the inside of the thigh as we have this rotational shearing of the thigh muscles, an external rotation. And you might notice on the second side that one side was tighter or looser than the other. And so this tells us which side of the body might need a little bit more tenderness, a little more care, a little more attention. And now as you take your next breath, can you feel it coming in through the nostrils and moving all the way down to the outer hip? As you breathe out from the outer hip, can you feel it softening, tension releasing, the body relaxing a little more? Slowly now come up. And as you come up, just sit over onto the right hip and bring the back leg around to the front. And we will take the soles of the feet together and come forward right over the legs into butterfly pose, clasping around the toes or resting the hands on the floor. Option to sit on a cushion or a folded blanket. And as you rest here, allow the spine to soften, allow the shoulders to soften, allow the weight of the head to come forward. And when we allow this rounding in the back body, this is how we bring the benefits of yin yoga, the benefits of stretching fascia into the practice. As we stimulate and stretch the 7 layers of fascia that make up the spinal column and the back body. And we can take a deep breath into the web of fascia in this back body and breathe out to help it soften, to help the spine release. And sensing also now into the inner thigh stretch. And take a breath into the inner thigh, inner groin area. As you exhale, soften the inner thighs, the inner groins. Slowly release, slowly come up and come all the way down onto your back, On your back, hug your knees into your chest and take a moment to arrive on the ground. Perhaps circling the knees or rocking side to side. And now let's let go of the legs to come into spinal twist, taking both feet onto the ground. And let's cross the left knee over the right and let both knees fall over toward the right side. Extend your left arm out to the left side and take your right hand onto the outside of the knees. And you can take a moment to lift the hands up, let both elbows kind of help you to adjust your upper body so that the shoulders move from one side to the other so that your shoulders are balanced on the ground. And then you can go ahead and take this right hand back down on the legs, left arm out to the side, and turn your head to the left to whatever degree is comfortable. Option to use a block under the feet and or under the knees, or a bolster. As the body settles into this twist, notice the sensation of twisting in the core of the body, in the spinal column itself. Can you breathe now into the spine? As you exhale, extend the left shoulder out to the left side a little more. And feel how this body is twisting not only in the spine, but in the soft tissues of the torso, the waist, the intercostals between your rib cage, between your bones of your ribs. And each time you take a breath, feel the rib cage expand and deflate. Now taking another deep breath into the belly and into the spine. Exhale, softening a little bit more. And slowly transitioning now by untwisting the legs and bringing the knees back up to center. And switching to the other side, crossing the right knee over the left and letting both knees come over to the left side as you extend your right arm out to the right and perhaps taking this optional elbows into the ground, hands up to just arrange your upper body. You want to bring your left shoulder to the left a little more, your right shoulder out to the right as you extend your right arm and taking the left hand onto the knees. And perhaps the head is comfortable turning out to the right side to complete this spinal twist all the way up into the upper spine and neck. The entire spine twisting through the upper middle back, lower back, and even around the sacrum as the right hip crosses over the left hip. And now can we breathe into this spiral shape of the body? And exhale, soften into this spiral. Soften the arm, the shoulder, the right side of the chest. With every breath, inviting the body to surrender into the support of the floor. Every exhale, inviting you to melt a little bit more into this moment, into the pleasure of this body. Now let's slowly bring it back up to center, uncrossing the knees, knees up to the center, and slowly roll over onto one side and push yourself up to set up for saddle pose or resting butterfly pose. So if you're taking resting butterfly, soles of your feet together, knees wide, resting back, maybe over a prop, over a bolster, or all the way down onto your back. Second option is to come into saddle pose. Option to sit between the feet or on top of the feet. And again, option to come back over blocks or a bolster. And if you're familiar with half saddle, that's another option you might enjoy here. Allowing the arms to come out at a comfortable angle, whichever pose you're in. You might enjoy having hands on the belly as an alternative, or letting them rest up over the head on the mat. And feeling the back bend, whichever pose you're in. And if you're also in a saddle, you might feel a stretch in the front of the thighs and the front of the hips. Settling into a longer hold here as we work gently and slowly through these thicker tissues of the fascia of the lower body. The fascia that weaves through the larger areas of thighs, hips, pelvis, and lower back. As you breathe into this lower body, appreciating all that these tissues of the lower body do for us, helping us move around in the world, supporting the upper body, supporting the uprightness of this beautiful body. Breathing in and out now. And very gently begin to move out of whichever pose you've been resting in. Coming up slowly and carefully to a seated position. Sitting in staff pose with the legs out in front of you. Option to use a cushion under your seat as we come into our next pose, which is our seated forward bend, caterpillar pose. Option to use any kind of props you'd like to have under your elbows, forearms, or under your head or chest. Your hands might rest on your legs or on your feet, or you could use a strap around your feet. Settling in for a full 5-minute hold here. Noticing how it feels to be coming into this forward bend after the back bend before it. Taking your time, settling in, and letting the body unfold in its own time. Shoulders relax, spine relaxes, and the weight of the head relaxes completely. And feeling the stretch of this body, not only in the back of the torso, but perhaps also the backs of the legs. And as we get into this longer hold, we move beyond the tension that's in the musculature and into the deeper tension that might be held in the body's fascia layer. Fascia that weaves through the muscle tissue, and also the fascia that encases the muscles and encases the organs, and that weaves through the joints and the discs of the spine. And the longer we can rest in a gentle version of a stretch like this, the more the fascia responds. Relaxing into the gentle and steady rhythm of your breath. Now finding a deep breath into the whole body and a full exhale, softening a little bit more. and slowly releasing, coming up to a seated position and then continuing all the way down onto the back for final relaxation. Resting in Shavasana or spreading out even farther in star pose, letting the legs come wider than the mat, the arms out to shoulder level or even a little higher. Claiming this place on the earth and fully receiving the earth's support as you let the weight of your body be completely released down into the ground. Adjusting whatever is needed so you can be completely comfortable here. Entering into this blissful time of stillness after the practice of stretching, moving, bending, and awakening the energies of the body. Now is the time to feel the life force flowing through the body. It is said that when we stretch and stimulate the fascia, that this is the mechanism through which we stimulate and stretch into the body's meridians, the energetic channels through which chi or the life force flows. And perhaps you can feel this energy as it moves through your body, as it floods or flushes through your joints, your tissues, your skin, as it animates your breath, the chest and the belly rising and falling in their steady rhythm. And now beginning to wake the body up gently with just a breath in to the belly and the heart. Expand from the inside. Exhale now and stretch out into your arms and fingers. Stretch down into your legs and feet. Now stretch the arms up over the head, interlacing the fingers, and stretch down long through the legs. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, bend your knees and slowly roll over onto one side. And move gently to bring yourself up into a comfortable seat. Crossing the legs. Bringing the palms to the heart. And we'll finish with a breath in, circling the arms around. Palms together and bring the hands right down in front of the heart. And that is our deep stretch yin yoga practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, leave a comment down below. I always love hearing from you in the comments section. And if you want to learn more about yin yoga, then check out my free yin yoga guidebook, which you can download in the description box below. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next practice. Namaste.